In this third part, I began with the question, will Quebec perform better economically than the rest of Canada? And the reason that I'm asking this question is because Quebec has the reputation for being a financial burden on Canada due to redistribution of tax revenue from other provinces. But I'm not sure that this is a totally fair assessment, given that Quebec produces quite a bit of its own energy from hydropower and also produces a lot of material locally, especially with food products and creative products as well, such as clothing. And one thing that a lot of Canadians and people abroad don't know is that personal debts are actually much lower in Quebec than they are elsewhere in Canada, standing at about $18,000 per household versus $36,000 in British Columbia, for instance. And so for this question, I got the cards 7 of Cups in reverse and 2 of Rods in reverse. And when 7 of Cups is in an upright position, that means a lot of great ideas, but they're distracting each other and no real results ensue. But when it's in a reverse position, this is speaking to the assets of the province being realized, but also perhaps a lot of the I guess you could say in Reagan terms, voodoo economic, or that was Bush the first that said voodoo economics regarding Reagan's economic policy. I think that some of the real state of the coffers of Quebec will come to light, but also it will come to light what is still not known, if that makes any sense. There is a reputation for a lot of mafia dealings, particularly in Montreal, and I just think that quite a few things will be exposed, and including like the real state of things, even though that's not necessarily a complete answer. They may say that the money went here, but then they can't really say anything beyond that. The 2 of Rods in reverse, Rods having to do with magic and the 2 being like an enchanting card. This has to do with the values of Quebec society, and so I think that people are going to be unwilling to adopt the neoliberal model of economics and be quite oppositional to the overall prevailing corporate nature of the rest of North America. And so I think that the answer in this case is no. It's not going to show in the data, but people are going to be happy with how things are on the ground, and I think any political coalition is not going to really want to disrupt too much because the backlash would be enormous. And I guess you could say that was evidenced by the tuition hike that's being addressed now. Finally, I asked, will Jean Charest return to politics, and to what degree? And the first set of cards just answers the return to politics. Judgment in reverse and the Knight of Cups upward. And the first card is a card of disillusionment and wanting to be isolated, to be left alone, to sort of have a breakdown. I think this is what's going on behind the scenes right now, and that's quite understandable given even though he didn't lose by a huge margin, he did lose his own riding of Sherbrooke, which I believe is also his hometown. And so this is just a loss of identity kind of card. But the fact that it's judgment shows that it's based on external facts or decisions. The Knight of Cups really describes his temperament, or at least as he is portrayed publicly. He's known as the political survivor. And this is a flamboyant card because you have the well-being of the cups, the romantic aspect of the paired flowers, and then the knight. So youthful. And at 54, he's also probably not really old enough to totally retire. So I think that he will be sort of like the architect of a revamp of the Liberal Party in Quebec and maybe for a lot of Canada, at least Eastern Canada. And then for the to what extent aspect of that question, I got the Six of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups returned in the reverse position. So, the Six of Pentacles, and Pentacles in general, has to do with material prosperity. And the even number and the balance of scales shows enough to give away. So, I see him as sort of emerging as the sage-like figure, the all-knowing, and like a mafia boss, which sometimes that accusation has been thrown out. I just see him getting more prestige once he gets out of his funk and returns to the public sphere again. However, the Seven of Cups in reverse is focusing again, and I think that if it was the right side up, that would mean that he's willing to expose himself to the public scrutiny and all that, and throw out all these random ideas. But I think he's afraid of exposure, like I said before. And he's going to be a public figure, but more like a figurehead, perhaps, I want to say party leadership, but more like behind the scenes or occasionally rallying the base during what we would call stumping in the U.S. He's just not willing to expose himself, and I think some of his dealings in Quebec may be brought to the fore in a national election or platform, and he doesn't really want to take it there. Anyway, I hope this has been enjoyable for you. Please subscribe to the channel or check out the tarotworldtour.wordpress website. I always appreciate your viewership, and also I'm curious if there are any aspects that I've left out that might be of interest to you. Thanks for watching. Bye.